Good evening, fellas, and welcome to another video with me, Vince, at Modern Man Lifestyle. Thank you for joining me. As you can see, I'm rocking the Miami Vice Hawaiian shirt. It's insanely hot in the UK at the moment, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm really going out there for this crazy number. You know, look at those guns. Anyway, fellas, thanks for joining. Today, what I'm going to talk about is using your online dating profile and, in particular, the prompts. Now, when you have online dating, you'll know if you use Hinge or Bumble, they have prompts and questions where you can add information, comments, funny things on your profile. Now, understand that not only has online dating been increasing for the last 5 years or so, but during COVID, it's literally the only way single people have been communicating, which means girls have seen tons and tons of profiles. They are so bored of swiping and liking. Same with guys. And for you guys to really optimize your opportunities and potential girls that you can speak to or even go on dates with, you have to stand out from the crowd. I can't stress this enough. Let's go through a couple of examples of awful comments that you see girls say all the time. We'll get along if you like dogs, food, IKEA, just awful. There's no substance to these comments. Change my mind about Hinge, Bumble, being a conservative, being a Tory. Like, just things that are just non-starters for conversations. They're not different and they're not interesting. Now, as a guy, you get frustrated, right? Because you're flicking through and you're like, well, this girl seems, she's cute, but her comments are just so lackadaisical. There's no meat on the bone, and I know this is going to be shit chat. Now, girls complain and say, well, guys aren't good chat. There's nothing going on. They're not funny. They're not exciting. They're not got banter. But the point is that there's nothing to go on. So what I want you to do, guys, is I want to take it upon your shoulders to make your profile the most appealing, funny, polarizing, hilarious as possible. So that includes good photos, which I'll talk about in another video. But it's really, really important that you have funny prompts and comments about yourself. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on Bumble and Hinge because they actually have prompts. Tinder, I mean, you can have a Tinder profile, but at this point, I think Tinder's nearly dead and buried based on what I've seen anyway in the last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the prompts that I use, the kind of things I go for, and the kind of results I've had from that. So one of the first ones I always have is a random fact that I love. Now you'll get that on both Hinge and Bumble as a type of question that you can add into your profile. And this is a brilliant one because you can find some unbelievably funny facts that you will find enjoyable and then people will find enjoyable as well. I'll give you a really good example. I found a fact on Google. Seriously, just Google obscure facts, funny facts, hilarious facts, and just scroll through till you see one that you haven't seen before that you find hilarious. Now, there'll be girls on there and guys on there that use the same facts. Boring. One I found that got such good feedback from girls was the inventor of the frisbee was cremated and turned into a frisbee when he died. I cannot tell you how many likes I got, how many comments I got on Hinge, just with people messaging me like, oh my god, is that true? Holy shit, that's hilarious. Wow, that's so funny. I've never seen that before. The amount of conversations that started on that funny, playful foot where they've seen a quote or something that stuck out to them, it was brilliant. So what I suggest you do is you look for a fun fact. Really, all it is Google. Don't go for the first fact you find on the first link on the first page. Do a little bit of digging, do some research, and genuinely pick one that you found funny or you found different. And you will not be disappointed with the amount of likes and comments you get off the back of that. Number two is one of the prompts which I quite like is the best travel story. Now, you could put really anything, but what I suggest you do is you lead into a story, but you don't give full disclosure. So for me, I have a really funny story about being on a night bus in Colombia with the driver who was a lunatic. He was also drunk. and it was a wild, wild night, and the story goes on. However, what I wrote was bus, mountain, night bus, Columbia, mountain, dot, dot, dot. So what that does is it's like, right, okay, so something funny here, something crazy. I want to ask more. So I got a lot of girls asking me, so what happened? Or, oh wow, those night buses are crazy. Or what was Columbia like? And you're leading in. It allows you. You're not giving them full disclosure. You're holding back a little bit, which is important because when you want to stimulate a conversation with a girl, you can't give them everything at once. It's got to be bit by bit leading into a story. That's another one. So whatever travel story you've got, whatever time you've had away with mates, it doesn't have to be some crazy abroad trip. It could be anything you've done, but don't give full disclosure. Leave, an interesting sentence and then leave a couple of dots. And then finally, you might want to give like a little piece of yourself, what's something that's interesting about you. So for me, there's a prompt on Hinge which says something that's non-negotiable for me, and that is the room has to be freezing cold for bedtime. Now, a lot of girls will not like that. Some girls will, but it sparks a little bit of debate, a little bit of conversation. Some girls might write, no way, you got to be roasting hot. You got to get a heated blanket. You got to be roasting warm. Some girls will come be like, yeah, absolutely, you got to be freezing cold. Some girls will make fun of me because I live in a cold country most of the time, so they'll think I'm crazy. But it gives them just a little bit of a flavor of you. Now you can come up with anyone like that, but just give it a little bit of flavor of you and be authentic to yourself. So if it's like our 90s R&B is the best music out there, modern R&B is terrible, fine, say that. Say something like cutting that you actually, I mean, cutting R&B is not that cutting, but that you actually believe in and you actually will stick by. Because there's nothing else than you trying to, well, what is she like, or what will they think? What do I think they will like? Because what you're doing is you're just trying to pander to someone you don't know what their interests are, and that's never going to work. It's never going to attract girls the way you want. So, fellas, that's three really important prompts, which I really recommend that you spend some time getting. I have had so many likes and so many comments and messages from girls on Bumble and Hinge based on those three different types, especially the random fact and the best travel story where you're leading into something quite exciting. What I'd recommend is you do a bit of research, you do a bit of working away, and you update your prompts, you make them exciting, you make them different, and really you will see a marked improvement without of interaction you have with the girl and the conversations you're having. Anyway, fellas, I'm going to leave it there for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for joining.